Rufai Oseni is saying something that is actually very, very important about the Osun governorship elections. And what he's saying is about 2027 election. What did he say? He's saying that Nigerians are feeling a sense of victory, that Tinubu was defeated in the Osun election. And Rufai is actually saying that he is afraid that that might make Nigerians to become complacent, to feel like, yes, they have arrived. Is this a valid concern? I think it is. And he's talking about lessons that we must keep reminding ourselves about as far as the Osun elections are concerned and the 2027 presidential elections are concerned. What are these things? For me personally, there are things that I feel that we must not forget. Number one, the victory of Osun election is not an Adeleke's victory, or is it? It's not a Davido's victory. Yes, many of us have congratulated them for their contributions in that victory. But if you check it, whose victory is it? Ultimately, it is the victory of the people. In fact, some people describe it as victory for democracy. With that in mind, here are two things that we are not talking about enough. Number one, many still argue, I guess supporters of Tinubu and the APC need something to make themselves feel good about the defeat in the Osun election. So they argue that Tinubu didn't really want to interfere in the Osun election. That if he really wanted to win, he could have won. At least that is what Rufai is saying. That is what Wike is saying. In fact, even somebody like Segun Showumi, that is what he's saying. He even takes it further to say that, yes, even though APC lost the Osun election, that ultimately Tinubu is the biggest winner because Adeleke has endorsed Tinubu. So he is combining the votes of Adeleke and that of APC, and is attributing all of them to Tinubu for the 2027 elections. These are things they are saying. But we know that all of this is just to make themselves feel good about the defeat. But let us interrogate the matter. Is it a victory for the Adelekes, or is it a victory for Nigerians? Is it a victory for democracy? I would reckon that it is a victory for Nigerians, a victory for democracy. And I would project that that victory will be carried on in 2027 because Osun has a history. In 2015, Jonathan, PDP, was at the center, was in government. Osun voted against Jonathan. They voted APC. In 2019, Buhari was president. APC was the ruling party at the center. Osun voted against Buhari in 2019. They voted for Atiku. In 2023, Buhari was still president of Nigeria, and Osun voted against APC. In 2023, they voted for PDP. That's to tell you that Osun has a record of backing whoever they feel the ruling party at the center is trying to oppress. That is what has played out again in 2026 in favor of Adeleke. Now, if Adeleke fails to recognize this, or Davido fails to recognize this, we Nigerians must not fail to recognize this, that the people of Osun will always rise up against the party at the center that they feel is making life difficult for them. And answer me this question. Is Tinubu or the APC making life difficult for the average Osun people? The answer is as good as mine, whatever it is that you give, because I know it will be an affirmative yes. The APC are not even denying it. They are telling you their reforms are working, but that it will cause a little pain, even though that pain has lingered for almost 4 years now. They are telling us to bear pain while they themselves are enjoying. And the people of Osun will not forget that in the 2027 presidential elections. But there are things that we are not taking note of. Tinubu did try to take Osun. He brought his federal might. It's just that the resilience of the people of Osun, coupled with technology, defeated the APC apparatus, the APC machine. The people defeated them. So anybody who tells you that, oh, Tinubu didn't really want to interfere, or Tinubu didn't really want to win, that person is not telling you the truth. Now here is something that many persons have ignored. How many of you noticed that while results were being uploaded to IREV, that there were 2 servers? How many noticed that there were 2 servers? There was a server, INEC election results.ng. That was one server. There was another server, cvr.inecnigeria.org, another server. And while the uploads were going on, the format in which these 2 servers were presenting the results online were different. The one of the cvr.inecnigeria.org was different from the server INEC results.ng, what it was displaying. There were 2 different servers displaying 2 different formats of the same Osun election. Many people did not notice this. Now they have, I am perceiving, because right now they have blocked one of the server. So even if you do cvr.inecnigeria.org now, it will automatically redirect you to INEC election results.ng. So they have shut down one server and redirected traffic to that server to the other server. So my read of the situation is that they made a mistake. Remember, we said it, and it also even happened, that when elections are concluded at the polling unit and the results are, the ballots are sorted and counted, and the Form EC8A result is processed, you write the votes for each party on it and they sign. Once that happens, the next thing is to take a picture of the Form EC8A and upload it to IREV. Elections closed at about 2:30 thereabout for majority of the polling units. Processing, counting, sorting of the ballots will take maybe about 1 hour, maximum 2 hours. So let's say from 2:30 to 4:30 they are doing all of those counting and sorting at the polling unit. By 4:30 it means that the results at the polling unit was ready. The votes have been written on the from EC8A election result sheet. At that 4:30, the INEC returning officer has used the beavers to snap the Form EC8A by 4:30. Note the timeline. It will help you to understand the format that is available for them to rig, that they attempted but failed because of technology that the people deployed. By 4:30 they have used their beavers machine to take a photograph of the Form EC8A result that has been processed and uploaded, and the upload went successfully. But guess what? How many of you saw any result from any polling unit on the IREV by 4:30? How many? The results started trickling in by 7:30 p.m. in the night. That is almost 3 hours difference. Almost 3 hours difference. What happened in that 3 hours? Now, this is where I said they made a mistake. The two servers are not supposed to be online. INEC election results.ng server 1, cvr.inecnigeria.org server 2. Those two servers are not supposed to be online at the same time. In fact, CVR is supposed to be a server for continuous voter registration. But guess what? In the Osun election, you could use it. When you go to that website, you will see Osun election results there in a different format from the other server, INEC election results.ng. At about 10:30 thereabout, they stopped upload. At that time, nothing was going again, whether it is for the INEC election results.ng server or the other cvr.inecnigeria.org. Nothing was going. By the time the uploads resumed at about 12 midnight, one server had been shut down. That was when they realized their mistake. At that point, there was nothing they could do anymore, because you had solutions like VoteWatch that was pulling results from the polling unit and had the real-time result independent of INEC. And the result was out there, so there was nothing that they could do. Yaga Africa had their ERAD. Nigeria election situation, elections intelligence, something, they had theirs. Ballot Watch had theirs. But you see, there was a problem with all of these other platforms. And it's a problem that we must identify. Athena, yes, Osita Chidoka, I understand he also had his own. They were watching it from the situation room. Beautiful. But there's a problem that you all must identify. And that problem is that the AI that you say helped was working on what was already available on IREV servers. If they did not make the mistake of opening the portals to the public and thus making it impossible for them to alter anything on those servers, one of them is supposed to be the buffer server. I talked about it before. One of those two servers is supposed to be the buffer server, where they have a clear picture and that manipulation is possible on it. But they made a mistake and opened it. And unfortunately for them, you had a solution like VoteWatch that had the results from the polling unit. So by the time they realized it at about 10:30 p.m., it was already too late. So they corrected it about 12 midnight when upload resumed. But at that time, they have switched off one of the servers. We must realize this. If these are some of the things that we must realize and keep reminding ourselves, according to what Rufai Oseni is saying. Keep reminding ourselves so that when they perfect their whatever mistake they made now, they will perfect it in the 2027 election. But we will also be ready, because we will know that, they will attempt this and we will have our solution to counter them. We must, and this is important, Yaga Africa, election intelligence situation room, Athena, we must all realize that any attempt, like we have done in this Osun election, to rely solely on INEC's IREV uploaded results in 2027 will be a catastrophe, because it will mean that if by any chance, we are not saying there will be, if by any chance they succeed to manipulate the result that is uploaded to their own IREV, it means that your AI on whatever platform you are doing your analysis from will be working with an already faulty platform. So the input is faulty, the output will be faulty, no matter the AI that you use on it. So what is the solution? The solution is for us as people now to come up with more solutions like VoteWatch. VoteWatch does two things. VoteWatch is also able to pull results from INEC's IREV, but it only does it to compare because VoteWatch has a capability to collect the results from all the polling units independent of INEC, so that VoteWatch pull its results from the polling units from voters, which is allowed by law. It has its collated outcomes, and then it will also pull the one from INEC's IREV and compare the two. So VoteWatch will be able to tell immediately where discrepancies are. This is how you stop INEC from being used to cause any manipulation, because we won't say that INEC is going to rig. Officially, they are not going to tell you they will rig. But we are saying that there is a possibility, there's a potential for persons to hijack the system to manipulate the results before they are made public, right, to Nigerians. And so we have to put these measures in place. Beautiful. I am excited that many Nigerians are coming up with solutions along these lines, but we must make sure we don't fall into the trap that many of you fell into in this election, relying only on outcomes from INEC. These two servers, you think it is a small thing? No, it was a big mistake. It was not meant to happen. Two different INEC servers presenting results from the same election in different formats, particularly when one of them is supposed to be for continuous voter registration only. That is suspicious to many people who don't know exactly what might be going on. But for us who understand systems, that was a big mistake. And unfortunately, for those who may have planned to rig the system, they had a solution like VoteWatch that is totally independent of the INEC system, which is there just to provide an independently verifiable alternative for Nigerians. So going forward, the message is clear, like Rufai is putting it. Let us not rest on our oars. It is not yet Uhuru. There's still work to be done. We must understand the things that really happened to understand how it is possible for the system to be rigged in 2027 and how we can stop them. And we can stop them. The way we did in 2026 with Osun, we can repeat it again, but we just have to keep the critical lessons in mind. See you in the next video.